About a month ago, I made a new Instagram account. I hadn't posted on Instagram for probably 10 years, but I made an account after Daughter from Hell by Gracie Abrams came out, and I wrote an essay about it. And I decided I was going to post one essay every day for that 30 days. I posted that first one, immediately fell off, didn't write anymore. Month passed, and I've suddenly picked up this unofficial challenge for myself, but this time I'm not really holding myself to a hard write an essay every day, and it's more just make something and share it every day as much as I possibly can for the next few weeks. I haven't really announced this or declared it on anything besides that initial first Gracie Abrams essay post. And I think not doing that is helpful because it takes off some of the pressure that literally nobody else cares if I'm doing that. It's just my own pressure and disappointment in myself if I don't keep that up. So because I haven't made a big deal out of it, it just doesn't matter if I don't post for a day. That's fine. And so this works in this fun backwards way. So now because I'm not tightly committed to it, I feel more free to do it, and I want to do it. I've written 2 essays. I posted a YouTube video, which I haven't made one in a really long time. I wrote a song. Last night, I had started drafting an essay, and I went to finish it this morning, and I just really wasn't feeling it. I still felt the things that I said in those essays, but I just was not having a good time writing the essay. And the essay, ironically, was about allowing yourself to make something in the form in which that thing wants to be made, which is a pretty similar theme to the essay that I wrote yesterday. It's called I Want to Be Bo Burnham When I Grow Up. And I don't know all that much about Bo Burnham, but what I do know is he is a creative who is making things in all these different spaces. He makes movies, he makes documentaries, he makes music, does stand-up, he does YouTube videos, so many things. I know he's not making things right now, at least that he's sharing with the public. But for years, I have been sort of on and off posting online, YouTube videos, and I've been writing fiction pretty, strictly attached to writing novels specifically for the last 3 years. And I've written 3 novels, and I'm still not happy with any of them, not happy enough to, share them with anyone, which is why I started posting stuff on Instagram, because I wanted to spend the remainder of my summer just sort of cold plunging, giving myself exposure therapy into this is what it feels like to make something and share it and let other people see it, because that is the definite lacking point of my creative process, is that I'm making things, and I'm making things often, but I leave them in this perpetual draft of it can be a little more polished, I can edit it more, it needs another round. It never gets to the point where it feels ready to be shared. So I decided to do this whole posting thing, try and do something every day, because it gives me a short time frame so that it can't stay in a perpetual edit. It has to just go. And now the reason I'm making this video is because I'm scared. I'm really scared about something I've been realizing. I was journaling this morning before I got started actually making anything for consumption. I just wanted to sort of get my thoughts on paper, because that's the way that I think through what feels like a mess in my head. It becomes more organized once I put it down on paper, and that's my favorite feeling in the world, is to have the chaos in my head, which is my least favorite feeling, and turn it into something linear and that resembles some sort of actual thought process, and that has a shape and a structure. Just organizing messy thoughts into something clear is, it's cracked me. So I was just journaling, and I have these 5 options of things I could do today for the thing I wanted to post, and I wrote the song that I finished writing yesterday. I could figure out a way to record that and then upload that online. It's a really short song. It's a minute and a half or 2 minutes. That's kind of the whole point, is it's not meant to be a perfect song. It's just meant to be, I made something and I put it out. Make something, put it out. So I could have done that. I have a water fantasy sort of novel that it has been in a perpetual draft, and I was thinking, okay, maybe I can just go through the first 5 pages and just get those to a place where I'm happy with that edit and just post that on its own. and maybe I could do like a serial sort of style publication of this story where I post a chapter today, maybe I don't post another one for a week or the next day. So there was that idea. Then I have a short story that I'm working on that has been really like at the front of my mind for like the last couple of weeks. I had the first idea for it maybe a year ago, and it kind of just went away, and it's come back. I've really been thinking about it a lot. So I was thinking, okay, maybe I can finish writing that short story, post that. I had an essay about the difference between trying to post in the effort to be an influencer versus posting in the effort to document and share art, and the difference, if there is any, between those two. And then a documentation sort of tracker. This was my last idea, was to like whatever it is that I made for the day, I could just take pictures of it and then put them together in like a slideshow so I could post that on my Instagram. Anyways, I cycled through these options to show you. Out of these 5 things to do, the one that I picked to do first was to make the documentation tracker. So I made that. My second impulse was to finish the influencing essay. And so I pulled that up, and it didn't really feel like it was coming naturally. Like I had drafted it the night before. I was trying to finish the draft this morning, and I was like, God, it feels like I'm pulling teeth. Oh, wait. Remember I said I could like make anything of any form? And I've kind of been toying with like multimedia and books and slideshows and illustrations, which I'm not really like a physical art sort of person that like draws or anything like that, but it felt like this topic I could make a sort of slideshow presentation. I was really inspired by Jennifer Egan's A Visit from the Goon Squad. If you know the last chapter of that book, how it's like a huge like PowerPoint sort of thing. I read that like 5 years ago, and it has stuck with me, that form, ever since. And just people doing out of the box weird things with form. And then the whole Bo Burnham thing was in my head. I ended up turning the essay into a slideshow that I posted on my Instagram instead. And it's still communicating the same idea, at least to me. I'm sure it's less clear because it's not literally spelled out for you in an essay. It's in a slideshow that's kind of like an artsy sort of my interpretation of this feeling that I have rather than telling you exactly my thought. Okay, and then after that, I did a little bit of drafting for that short story, but it didn't look like regular writing at all. It was sort of part of what I've been writing for this story is it doesn't look like a novel at all. Like it's filled with things that I would want to look like a BuzzFeed questionnaire. My main character is male, and I wanted his love interest, which is a beautiful woman who comes onto the page when she gets there. I wanted to show his immediate interest in her, not through him like seeing her, but you can see his search history. It becomes like he finds out that she's from Delaware, so then he starts asking questions like, tell me things about Delaware, like what is a person from Delaware called? And like you can see how she is taking up space in his mind through not his literal narration in like a novel structure. This is how it goes down in real life too, where if I'm thinking about somebody and I like someone, I'm not necessarily in my head going, oh my gosh, they look like this. It manifests in a way of, oh, he's really into Abraham Lincoln, and so suddenly Abraham Lincoln's on my mind, and then I'm looking up Abraham Lincoln. So I was trying to explain it in that sort of way. All this to say, the thing that has been kind of scaring me, but also exciting me and interesting, and I just sort of wanted to talk about here, I think there's something to be said about taking the path of least creative resistance. The fact that I had all 5 of these ideas of things I could do today, like maybe I'm just having an off fiction writing day, and like tomorrow I'm going to be really excited to write fiction again, but it's been like this for a while. For a long time, I've equated being a writer and the fact that I love reading books with, okay, that must mean I should be writing novels. And I wonder if maybe other forms like the essay, like the video essay, anything that's not necessarily just fiction, novel writing, because that's kind of all I've been practicing for the last few years, and the only goal that I had was to get better at that. It is sort of like pulling teeth for me often. When I sit down to write fiction, very rarely does it just come out and feel like easy and fun. Most of the times it's something I kind of have to really push myself hard to do. And you know, there's lots of stuff that feel like that, but it doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it. And there are things that I've done in my life that started off feeling like that, and then as you get better at them, you find more of the joy in it and it becomes more fun. Fiction has not really grown in that way. I wonder if I am more into the idea of having written novels rather than actually writing the novel. clearly I must like it to some extent, because it's not that I've just been saying I want to write a book, I want to write one. I've written 3 books, so I liked it enough to get through it. But the feeling of ease and fun and freedom and experimentation that I have been having in these other forms, like in the essay and in just literally anything besides fiction for the point of writing a novel, it comes a lot easier to me. And I just haven't really let myself explore those avenues all that much. And in just these last few days of writing these essays, I'm constantly thinking, like, oh, I could write an essay about this. I want to write about this. The thought pathway for a fiction writer might often be like, I have a story I desperately need to tell. And for an essayist, it might be, I have something I desperately need to think about. And that is the thing that's always going on in my head. I'm not trying to hold on to a label super hard. I'm not going to go around and start like putting essayist or novelist or just like specify what it is that I'm making on any of my accounts, or start to internalize like, okay, now I'm an essayist. I'm just a creative. I'm just somebody who likes to make stuff, and I'm still figuring out what the form is. And I'm sure the form can change a bunch, and I can make stuff in one form and then do something else. Like I said, I wrote a song that I think is pretty cool, and I want to be able to share that too. And I think some of the most cool, interesting, creative people, like Bo Burnham, who I really respect, like that they're doing stuff across things, they're not afraid of breaking the niche mold, which we're told, if you've ever tried to sort of put something online or make YouTube videos in particular, one of the first pieces of advice that you get is to niche down. And that's always been a problem for me. That was always a thing that like scared me and bothered me and was a real challenge, is because I hate being in a box. I hate being in a niche. I want to be able to make whatever the heck I want and just like do that. I'm letting myself do that right now. So, and this video is all just to say, in the process of letting myself do that and not box myself in, I'm starting to realize, oh, maybe the niche that I chose was wrong. And like that doesn't mean that I'll never write fiction. I'm sure I will write fiction to some extent, but realizing maybe there's a path of lesser resistance that might actually be a lot more fun for me. I recently changed my name on pretty much all my platforms from Bianca to Banks Bacchus, because when I was a kid, my family called me Banks, and some people in my family still do, Banks or Banky. Part of that was I wanted to kind of like just have a name that was different than my own name, to feel like the artist version of me who's like posting stuff online and who can be like really dramatic and in their feelings and weird and making cool, interesting stuff that is different than like the Bianca who's here and is going to be at a 9 to 5 job and like does her laundry and stuff. Like they can be two different sorts of things, and that separation helps me. And I chose my childhood nickname because as I make things, I have this habit of like over analyzing and intellectualizing. Well, what am I saying with this? Like if I make a YouTube video, am I not conforming to the idea that visual communication is the most important one? Why don't I make a podcast instead? Wouldn't that be more of like a stick it to the man of, I'm not going to be a visual artist and I don't want the way that I look to be perceived and sway somebody one way or the other as to whether they like what I have to say. Like I should be doing some other thing. I don't know. I do all of this, and I've been trying to tell myself, just do the thing that the younger version of you or the child version of you who like didn't have the ability to analyze the stuff that she did. She just did stuff because it was fun and she thought it was cool and it felt good. Just do that. Just do those things and don't think so hard about it. Because when I do think so hard about it, I just don't make anything, because there's always some problem there with all the forms, you know? Anyways, all this to say, even when I'm not posting anything for anybody's consumption, one of those things that is just consistently fun in my life and that I always just want to do is I'm a journaling girl. Like I love to like scrapbook, and this is just me. That's a barren page, but like this is just me doing this for myself. I've never showed this online anywhere. And I just, every single day, like each of these are a day, I write down all the things that happen to me, all the things I'm feeling, and then I print out like a Pinterest sort of board or like stickers or something, and I put it along with it. And that's kind of like an essay. This sort of thing that I showed you before, where I was just mapping out my thoughts and trying to figure out what I wanted to do for the day and like where I was going for the day. I'm just doing that anyways. So if I'm not even like trying to get myself to do that and I just want to do it, maybe I should do more of that thing. And fiction's not like that for me. Fiction is something that I need to like, I have to hype myself up. I have to force myself to get into routine and like make habits and systems to get myself to write fiction. Whereas that, there's zero pressure. Like, I look forward to that. I want to do that all the time. My mind's constantly thinking like, oh, how could I write about that more later? And as I've been watching some interviews from other people that I like their art. Like Phoebe Bridgers' album just came out, so I've been thinking about and watching and like consuming a lot of content about her. Her mind seems to constantly be on it. Like she's always thinking about like how she can write like the next thing, or like something she hears always triggers like, oh, that would be so good in a song. That's my mind with like essays or like journaling. I watch a show and there's an interesting relationship there and it makes me think, why is that relationship like that? How does that apply to my life? How can I write about this in some way? And I thought in order to write about them, I needed to fictionalize it and take that relationship and somehow put it into my own fiction. One of my favorite relationships on television is Rick and Shane in The Walking Dead. Such a cool and interesting dynamic, and the progression of how, whatever. I'm not going to get into the weeds, but I think about Rick and Shane all the time. Sorry about the sirens. And so I thought the way that I could express me thinking about that and having something to say about it was to write two characters who had a Rick and Shane-esque relationship in my own fiction. And I've tried it so many times. I've written so many characters that like try and have that relationship and it never comes out the way that I want it to. And I wonder if maybe like the real thing that I want to do is I just want to write an essay about Rick and Shane. Like I just want to analyze them. Maybe I don't want to make my own characters about them. I want to analyze Rick and Shane and then show how I see Rick and Shane in the real world around me, and maybe how we are all Rick and Shane. Maybe that's what I want to do with that feeling, and it doesn't have to exist just in that one like novel format. I'm getting I don't know if this rant has been something like followable, which is part of why it should be an essay, because I love that in the act of writing things down, I'm able to move things around and sort and organize and make the thing I'm thinking about something that you can understand. So this, I don't know, I was just feeling like talking. So, and also kind of documenting this moment because it feels sort of important for me. And I think later, if this does pan out to be that maybe essays are something that I like do a lot more of, this could be a cool thing for me to look back at in the future. I'm gonna link my Substack with those essays that I have written and the ones that I will be writing in the future. That'll be in the description. I'll also leave my Instagram where I'm posting the other sorts of things that I'm making. If you're making anything right now, whether that's on YouTube or some other platform, feel free to leave that in the comments. I love to see people making anything because it's cool. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one.